Hi, I'm Patrick Brannon, Mr. Patrick from the Highlands Biological Station. Take a look at this tree. Something has been eating it. Can you guess what it is? Well, that's the subject of today's lesson, the beaver. So what exactly is a beaver? This is a beaver. A beaver is North America's largest rodent species. If you remember, rodents are a group of mammals with these big, long, buck teeth. These front teeth are called incisors, and they use them for gnawing on things. So in the case of squirrels, they gnaw on acorns. Mice might gnaw on seeds, but beavers gnaw on trees. But that's not all they eat. They're herbivores, so they eat mostly leaves and flowers, but they will also chew on trees. Why do they chew on trees? Well, let's talk a little bit more about their teeth first. If you were to chew on a tree, what would happen to your teeth after a while? They would wear down. Trees are hard. So does the beaver just keep chewing until he has no teeth left and then he starves? Well, rodents' teeth keep growing. Your teeth don't do that. They're not going to keep growing and growing and growing. But a rodent's does, to compensate for their tooth wear. So as it chews down the tree, their teeth keep growing longer, so they always have nice sharp teeth. They also wear unevenly. The outer layer is dark and harder than the inside. So the inside part wears more than the outside, and that maintains a nice sharp chisel point for chewing down trees. They chew down trees in part to eat it. But they don't eat the whole stick like a carrot. Instead, they strip off the bark and eat the cambium layer, which is that juicy part underneath the bark. If you look at this stick, you can see all the teeth marks where a beaver has chewed on the tree. So here's the close-up of the beaver's skull. And just like other rodents, like this squirrel, they have those big elongated incisor teeth. And then a gap with no teeth, because they're herbivores. That's where canine teeth would be on predators and other carnivores. And then in the back, they have these flat molars for grinding up all that plant material. Once they have these sticks, they do something else with them. They pile them up to create dams and lodges. Beavers are some of the only animals to create their own habitat. Humans do that using a bulldozer and chainsaws, but beavers do it using their teeth. A beaver will enter an area with a stream. They're attracted to the sound of running water, and their instinct is to dam it up. So they chew down trees and get sticks like this. Then they gather up the sticks and pile it in front of the stream. That plugs it up. It's kind of like putting your plug in your bathtub. Instead of the water going down the drain, it fills up the tub. So when the beaver stacks up and makes a dam across a creek, the water can't flow. So the area floods and backs up and creates a beaver pond. So the beaver creates its own habitat, and habitat for lots of other animals. Lastly, if the beaver didn't chew on trees, what would happen to his teeth? They would just keep growing and growing and growing. So he has to chew on trees so that his teeth don't get too long and so that they remain nice and sharp. So this is a chunk of wood that was bitten off by the beaver. So you can see just how strong and powerful those teeth are. And again, here's the chew stick with all the bite marks. Here's one where they've gnawed down the entire tree. So they have very strong teeth for gnawing on trees. So why would a beaver chew a tree this big? would it be able to move it to make a dam? Instead, it cuts down a big tree like this to get to the small branches up on top. Once the tree has fallen down, it can cut off the small branches to make the dam, and also it will eat all the juicy green leaves. Beavers are not just big rodents, they're aquatic rodents. They live in the water. That's why they create these beaver ponds. So they have lots of adaptations about their body to help them swim. The most obvious one, of course, is their tail. They have this very unique paddle-like tail. They flap it up and down in the water like this, or turn it side to side. It helps them swim. It's like a canoe paddle. They also have webbed feet. If you look closely here, you can see that their feet are webbed to help them swim, like flippers. Here's a rubber cast of a beaver's foot. So if you see a track like this, it might be from a beaver or maybe a snapping turtle. But they also have lots of other adaptations, kind of like what you might have when you go to the swimming pool. You might wear flipper feet, but you also wear things like a bathing suit so that you dry fast. Now, beavers don't wear bathing suits, but they have this very thick, coarse fur that's waterproof. They rub oil from their special gland into their fur, and it makes them shed the water better, so they stay dry and warm. Their fur is also very thick to keep them warm, and it traps air so that they're buoyant, so they can float. When you go swimming, you might wear swimming goggles. Well, they don't have goggles, but they have clear eyelids so that they can see underwater. They also have special little flaps in their nose and their ears to help keep out the water, and a variety of other aquatic adaptations. So here's a close-up of their webbed foot and their kind of scaly, leathery tail. And then they have the ear plugs and the nose plugs and clear eyelids so that they can see underwater, in addition to their coarse fur. Some animals are active during the day. Some animals are active at night. But beavers are kind of in between. An animal that is active during the day is diurnal. Animals that are active mostly at night are nocturnal. But beavers are active at dawn and dusk, mostly. They're called crepuscular animals. So you might see a beaver during the day or at night, but during that twilight time is the time when they're the most active. So beavers often construct lodges, which is their home. They pile up sticks in the center of the water where they're safer from predators. The entrances are underneath the water. Now locally, they don't necessarily build them out in the middle of the water. Around here, they often just dig a hole in the side of the bank. But the entrance is still underwater where they're safer from predators. If they do see a predator, they do something very special with their tail. They don't smack the predator with it, but they smack the water with it, like bam, loud, and that can scare away the predator. So often you might hear a beaver's tail splashing. But one thing they do not use their tail for is to carry mud to make their dams. They pat it down with their feet. They don't use their tail. They might pack it down with their tail, but they don't carry it on their tail. Beavers can sometimes be considered a nuisance. When beavers cut down trees, or if they girdle all of the bark off the tree like that, they can kill the tree. Or if they dam up creeks like this, they can wind up flooding our trails. However, in nature, beavers can also be very important animals. They're what we call keystone species. A keystone is the top part of an arch. What would happen if you removed the keystone? The entire arch would fall apart. So a keystone species is an animal that all the other animals depend on. Beavers create the pond habitat. So without the beaver, things like ducks and frogs and salamanders and lots of other animals and plants wouldn't have their habitat. So thanks for watching. Please visit us at highlandsbiological.org, and I will see you next time.